Hey, what's going on, Beowulf Nation? It's on Beowulf, back at it with another video. Today's video, 2019 Yamaha GP1800R. Now, I know a lot of people have been commenting in videos for a while since I got this. When am I doing exhaust? Well, it's finally happening. So, the exhaust I went with is a Worx Racing. This would be their Freeflow exhaust. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why I would not do a rear exit exhaust. And I was gonna do a whole video, but I will say this before the start of the video. Now, the big thing is why you don't want to do through the hull exhaust. So once you drill a hole in your hull, there's no turning back. And if you have insurance on your ski and it sinks or has any issues at all with leaking, and then you try to file an insurance claim and it shows that they have an assessor come out and see you drilled a hole in your ski, you're probably going to be dropped from your insurance and through anybody else, and might never have any repairs fixed by insurance. So that would not be a smart idea to be doing. Second, when there's already a hole that comes factory, just stick with that. I mean, I did a Freeflow exhaust on my RXPX, and I did the Riva Freeflow exhaust, the Riva water box. Thing's super loud. This, I'm leaving the factory water box because when you do the intake, you have to drill in a factory water box with the RXPX, and it's just a lot faster just to buy their water box. This, you don't have to do any drilling. So if you don't have to mess with it, just leave it be, I guess. Plus, too, the big thing is when you do their Freeflow exhaust, it goes right in here, and you see where your tie down is. Now you can start moving the tie down here or there. I mean, you barely have structurally a lot there with the hull. I just don't think it's a smart idea. And it's the same with the RXPX. Now, here's a good example right here. Now, if you came and your ski came factory with a rear exit exhaust, then that's totally fine because it was made to be like that. And the reason of that is there would be nowhere else to put it right into here, how the design is. And that's just my opinion. Anyways, I don't want to be debating, but I'm just telling you, these are facts. That's why I've never done this to any of my skis, and it'd be very hard to convince me to do it otherwise, because you gotta remember, you're on the water. You're not on land. You start sinking, and there's no turning back. And this one's pretty nice too. So I'll just go over a little bit with the kit. So it'll come with a rubber gasket, and then here's the part they'll be hooking out the rear or out the back of the exhaust, which is right in there. So what I'm probably going to plan on doing is there's going to be a whole step-by-step, but I think really without moving a lot, I just have to remove this bolt right here. Then we're going to drop this back, and I'm pretty positive I can fish my hands to loosen those bolts to pull this thing straight out that way without removing a lot. And it's going to sound a lot better because there's all these restricted baffles and all that. I'll show you guys all on this thing. This all out. They say that Yamahas too, they got this really nice waterproof storage. Stick that right back there. Alright, so you see there's this whole baffles and big restricted exhaust. So like the first things we'll have to do is disconnect the negative battery. We're going to have to remove all this out and take off the other seat and put it somewhere else because it will never clear anything else. So we're going to unhook, kind of follow instructions, but kind of go step by step. It's definitely going to be interesting how much louder this thing's going to be because it has some sound to it. My RXPX is really loud. I mean, if you haven't ridden for a while, you have a ringing in your ear, and that's just with the Freeflow exhaust. Now, the reason too why I went with this option is Riva Racing does sell one, and nothing bad about what they're selling, but I've had people tell me they weren't happy when I did it. And what you have to do is you'll have to do the whole step by removing how this is. But then what you have to do is keep half of it and cut it a certain length, and then you can't put it back to stock. Now, kind of what I like is I have these parts, so in case I want to sell the ski down the road, I can just put it right back in there if somebody didn't want to have it be loud, instead of going and buying all the parts again. It just adds up. Plus, I don't like cutting things and putting it together, especially when it revolves with where water lines and all that kind of stuff. It's just not what I want to do. And I know for a while this has been out of stock. And I was like, oh, I have to pull the trigger and do it finally, because I keep on saying I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. And this is a pretty big exhaust. I mean, about what, 3-inch plus, and definitely going to remove all this restricted stuff. And then also too, if you haven't seen past videos, I hydro dip this carbon fiber. Same, I'll show you real quick. You haven't seen all the videos. Hydro dip this whole thing, got rid of it, what's white, it's carbon fiber. I removed this because I got this Jettrim thing coming in. I already have it, I got to install that. I thought I was going to do it this weekend, and we went riding instead, and I want some time, and then I'm just like, I'm going to install this and jump it around too. I have an intake grate for this, will be a future video, and then a couple parts to the Kawasaki, and then I have a bilge pump I'm installing, and the RXPX coming soon too. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Existing subscribers, hit the bell notification, be notified as soon as the video is uploaded. Let's get this video going. All right, so I got the seat removed. Now the next step is to remove this whole thing. Is all, yeah, it puts all in one piece. So remove the bolts for this, to pop this whole thing out, and then it will free up a lot more room to work in here. Such a nice tidy thing. Also too, I want to hydro dip this a different color is what the plan is sometime soon. I might do is get another one and then just keep this one and then not hydro dip on my main one so I can keep on riding, but I'm not sure. I'm on the fence. It's not that long turnaround time, so it'll probably be something maybe I'll do pretty soon. Just see at the weather. If there's like a week of raining, then I'll probably do it. It's just the hard thing is, then if I continue to ride and just ride the other ski, then this is all going to be open, and that's not a too intelligent thing. That's kind of why I want to do that. That is a route. You could do it, I could just cover it over, but then I'm kind of afraid it's just, I've had lizards and stuff. I don't want a lizard or something in my engine. It costs me a lot. Let's do it smart. That Ziploc bags and stuff to put all your bolts, separate them so you don't lose stuff. Definitely don't drop anything down in there. So this definitely frees up a fair amount of room in here to pull this thing right out. It's nice to have so much working space in here too. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery is the next step. So I got the negative terminal disconnected. Now I think the next step I'm going to do is with this clamp and that clamp and just start moving pieces apart to get to see more what's all going on with this. There's one part. So we got that part right out there. And I'm going to unhook this part right here, connecting the water box to the super restricted exhaust. So there's a majority of everything with the exhaust. You got this like baffle thing, and then this thing, and then this giant thing. Then you got this piece of foam. I bet you the piece of foam sells for a lot of money, to be honest. So then we got that elbow. So what I was getting at is that Riva racing one, from what it looks like, is you would have to cut that. Which I didn't want to do that, so you have to still take that piece off to cut it. It would have been cool if they had one where it just like hooked right onto there. That would make a lot of sense, but from what I'm aware of when I read their instructions, is you had to cut that pipe to slip it on. Now if it was just something where you hook on just like that, you actually probably could. The good thing is having this nice hose. There's some a little bit of flex there, but it gets you a cooler idea. If you've seen a past video, or a couple videos back, when my brother got the Yamaha weight venture, you can see how the whole design is similar to what that was. And I'm going to do this whole video talking about this because, as you see here, there's no carbon seal, and you can see how the shaft comes into Kawasaki, no carbon seal. If anybody's familiar with the carbon seals failing and whatnot in their design, it's just a lot of stuff going into one area where there's water can come in your hull. I don't know why they keep doing that. But anyways, this is a Yamaha video. I despise the carbon seal and the design with Sea-Doo. They keep doing it and they don't change their design to make it better for the person buying the ski. Yeah, the carbon seal, all it is great for anybody who's working on them. There's more maintenance to be done. I know Riva Racing sells this piece right here where it's billet with different things and replace that. If I ever pulled out the shaft or repitched the prop, I'd probably do that then, but otherwise you would have to remove the whole shaft out to do that, and there's not a problem. I'm not going to mess with it. But it gets you an idea of just how this thing is built and the design of the hull. Right, so I hooked the bolt right here holding this. So this would be just coming up and down. And with that off, in the instructions, they have a different picture, and stuff has obviously changed throughout the years. So now every single bolt I can reach in here and not have to remove much else. That's also what I want to get at. This is where the frustrating things come with owning a Sea-Doo. And I know it's a Yamaha video, but we're in the same situation right now. I want to show you. Well, there has no reverse, but everything's easy to get to. This has everything easy to get to. If you have to spray to make sure nothing corrodes the silicone in here, you can reach everything. Look at that. Everything's covered. You can't see nothing. And it just doesn't pop down. You have to do a gazillion things to make this come down. Besides moving up that IBR. That's another thing that just frustrates me with Sea-Doos. Here, you want to check and inspect everything? And it doesn't matter, both being open loop and that's closed loop. All this stuff gets salt in there if you take it to the ocean. And if you can't see everything to spray it, how are you going to stop it? It just, it frustrates me, and I don't want to vent, but it's just like when you're in this situation and look how easy everything is to get to and visibly see and inspect everything, there everything is covered. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyways, let's get these bolts off and start hooking this up. It's real easy. It's just, you gotta have patience and time and remove all this stuff. Also too, I just want to get something else too, because I had somebody just recently on the video comment, and there's this, people make adapters here to let water out the drain plugs, and I kind of want to get into explaining this too. So say you put those on a trailer like this, and this is Triton trailers. This is one of the best trailers you could buy, aluminum trailers. Now if you have that drain plug extension, look it would break off when you're going on the trailer. Now the Sea-Doo's sitting differently how they're designed. They're a little bit higher up. But see, Yamaha, basically it's hard enough just to get to them. Now I'll get up and I'll show you design of the Kawasaki sitting on this trailer. Again, it could be hitting up on there. I would never put anything that could jeopardize wrecking this vicinity of the ski. Let's get the bolts off. Yeah, see, but all the bolts are off there. Now it's time to pull this thing out. You should just see what's wrong. We're not jet skis. It's kind of almost like a barefoot job. You really want to move around. Should just, there we go. There we go. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Now, the thing I can already visibly tell is, see, these are bolts. And I don't even know if this thing, it might slip off of this, it might not. So you don't reuse this. I took that off to double check. You can actually see under the threaded, because I actually was just thinking to myself, I'm like, alright, well, do I need two people to do this? And good thing you don't. So, so this is the inwards part. The gasket would go, so this would be the part that would be going in. This is the part that would be the gap with the gasket. Another thing you have to think of too when you're doing this is it already has the holes. So basically what I think you want to do is get this piece on first, because that's what bolts on to the hull, instead of trying to squeeze it on the exhaust, because this is probably easily just slip into place. Basically that's how I would do it. So you want to get these on, put those through all the way, slip the gasket on, slip this screw through, reuse the bolts that came off there, and then that piece is on. That'll be my next step. I'm kind of reading the instructions, but I'm kind of not, because it's to me it's pretty straightforward of what I have to do. But that. I think I got some on my phone. Hopefully this get you guys to see what's in there. It's so cool. You can see right down there where it's a little rusted. So that's an area where you just want to make sure you hit it with this silicone stuff so it just doesn't rust. That's a hard stuff. Thing is, when some of these parts are covered up, you can't visibly see, but it's really important to be spraying in here all the time, getting everywhere. Alright, so let's get this thing. I'll spray first before putting the whole exhaust on, but I'm going to hook that piece on next. Looked at the instructions before doing it. So what they want to do is the bolts going the other way without reusing these nuts, which makes absolutely no sense. Because how are you going to hold this and then there's a seal, and yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But it's their design. I would have figured it'd be just like this is the factory one. There's bolts, push it up, you just tighten it, and it stays in place itself. But I guess they want to make stuff super difficult. So the technique I'm going to try doing is getting this into place, then hook one of the bolts going inwards, and then unhook that one outwards, and basically try doing this with one person, because otherwise I need help. It's late, so I want to get it done. Alright, this is the next day. I had my brother come out. We didn't film. I had him climbing in there. I was climbing there. We tried doing like wire to hold it on. It would not go on. And we put wire through almost every single hole. I was so frustrated. So what I did is drilled holes through the threaded part, reuse the stock piece, add the rubber gaskets, so now the thing will like actually seat up and not have issues. I mean, this has been really frustrating. So now I'm gonna do it differently than how it comes, and I basically re-engineered their product. Then reuse the stock nuts. Set up before, there were these bolts, these little ones going in this way by the jet pump. Now we got these really long ones that will grip and tighten it up, and let's get this thing on the ski. Call it a day. I'm gonna send a link to. I bought this through Riva Racing. I called Work Racing, and they said they tried wire. I tried wire through the holes. Nothing worked. And this is what my best idea is, just putting on just like the OEM piece. You might have a little lesser piece where the hose is going to fit on, but it's what it's got to be. As you can see, look how easy this is. This is how it should have been made. You don't need two people, one person. It's all going to tighten up. It's going to be perfectly fine. This is how this exhaust should have came. I fixed an issue. I'm frustrated. At least I got it work. All right, so two things. When you have to lay on your stomach, be like Superman reaching in there. I stuck my cover in there. There's pieces in there. They'll feel like they're just shooting right through your chest or wherever you're laying on there. It's super uncomfortable. So let's see what's all going down there. The flashlight. So there is the factory one connected right there. I'm gonna recheck all these first time riding, but I reused, like I said, the factory collar and the so that with the bolts and then the nuts. So I did not use the bolts that came with the kit. I drilled holes into it. You reuse the stock clamps. So you got that clamp on, that one on. You want to tighten where they're tight. You don't want to keep tightening them where they break. But man, you can see how much room is freed up in there. Also, you have this vent hose. Kind of a lot of work to squeeze them in there. What I did is I first put it in the top there, and then connected that. And you have to just fish it around and give it a good yank. It's real hard because you only can stick one hand in there. I used a ratchet with a socket to tighten those two, because there's no way you could have a flathead screwdriver in there doing that either. So I guess the next step would be connecting the battery. But before I do that, I just want to recheck the bolts. that I did down here. But that gives you an idea of what's all down there. So it looks just like the factory one. You just don't reuse. This was the gasket that would hook on the plastic thing. You don't reuse that. And this thing's it's a lot of work to do. I could have got it all done last night if I just drilled the holes like I was planning on, and this could be doing that. This would be super fast to do. Messing around trying to get everything to fit and have to re-engineer how it's made is what took the longest part. Reconnect right there. So this is back connected. Next will be the battery. Now I'm going to put that plastic piece back on. Take the cover out of there. Fire up, see what she sounds like. Start it up, check for leaks before I put this thing back on. So let me go get my keys, start her up. Alright, you guys ready to hear what this thing sounds like? I'm pretty excited. I can't believe it's all connected, to be honest. It was so frustrating. Alright. Got the green button. Let's do it. This thing is super loud now. Oh my gosh. It freed up so much room in there. So what I'm going to do is, well, obviously, you know, it starts up. I'm going to go back in there. I did check the one there, but the other one I got to be down a little bit lower, and I can't hold the camera and do that.